everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with the Christmas All Year Long series from Scrapping for Less. Today I'm going to be using the Karen Bernstein Rockin' Rectangle Pop-Out Die, and then I'm going to be using some products from Scrapping for Less. I'm going to be using My Favorite Things, Here Comes Santa stamp set, the Santa's Workshop 6x6 paper pad from Cartabella. I'm going to be using the Merry Christmas die that was from the October 2019 Flavor of the Month card kit. And then I am going to be kind of walking you through this. Now, I didn't do the coloring on here. I did show you the Copic markers just so that you know what I used, but I wanted to make sure to kind of get through slowly on this card to show you how to put it together. So I did make 3 die cuts in the red for the Merry Christmas, and then I glued those or adhered those together for the sentiment on the front of the card. So this is the die, the pop-up rockin' rectangle pop-up die that I used. And you have so many options to do with this die, but these are the ones that I used. I cut out 3 4 inches by 5 1/4 inch pieces for the card itself. I cut out 2 rectangles I used the 2 rectangle dies, the scalloped rectangle and then a smaller one to make 2 frames, one in red and one in green. I used a large rectangle with the curved edges to make 1. I made 2 of those frames. Then I used that same smaller rectangle to make the white that's going to have the sentiment on the inside. And then the mechanism portion, I did those in green to kind of match. I adhered the main panels down to the cards, 2 on the inside and 1 on the outside. And then I'm going to first I'm going to cut out the rectangle, but I wanted to kind of make sure where it was going to line up. So that's why I was kind of using that scalloped rectangle frame to be able to put the rectangle that I'm going to be cutting out, because this is going to be kind of a window die, so you're going to be able to see it from the outside. And this is pretty thick, so you do have to run it through a couple times. I had to also use a shim. So then I'm going to kind of start piecing together different parts of it. I'm using one of just the rectangle frames in the red on the outside, and then the green scalloped frame on the outside, just to kind of cover up that hole, I guess you would say, where the window is going to be. And then the mechanism can get kind of tricky. I mean, I guess it's not hard or anything, it's just a little fiddly, so you gotta kind of fiddle with it. So I'm gonna put these on there, and then I'm going to put one of the rectangle frames on the inside of the card but around the window, so that again just kind of covers up some of that and breaks up the hole with the pattern paper. And because it's layered so thickly, there's 3, the card base itself and then the 2 pattern papers on top, it's pretty thick, so it kind of covers up some of that there. So now that the window is kind of all ready, the piece, like I said, the image that I colored is sitting over there to the side. I did use the scan and cut to cut out the image once I was done. So now here's the piece, one of the mechanism pieces that's going to make this work. So the smaller mechanism piece, you're going to fold the pieces in half on each side, and they're kind of like legs. They kind of remind me of a pair of pants once you get it all together, and with little feet sticking out. So you're going to adhere those 2 pieces down, and that's going to be the mechanism part that kind of folds back and forth that helps it to pop out. And then the little feet part of the pants is actually, you're going to kind of just turn in the edges a little bit so that you can get them into those holes in the other piece, the longer piece that is the other part of the mechanism that's going to make it pop out. I love this card. I think it's really cute. I love how it just pops out, and it's really simple. Kind of once you do it one time, then you kind of get the gist of it, and it's very, very simple. But so I folded in the tabs kind of on the little feet there. Then with the longer portion of it, you're going to be folding it in a couple different ways. So I started with the tab on the end, and then I folded that one a mountain, and then I folded the next one a valley, and then the next score line a mountain. So that's the piece that you're going to have. Then you're going to kind of, this is where it gets a little fiddly. The rest of it, like I said, is pretty easy, and everything is pretty simple to put together, but just this one little part gets a little bit fiddly. So the feet are going to be, or the legs are going to be folded upwards. So the piece that you're going to actually adhere down to the back side of the card is the place where you want to make sure that you put your adhesive. And then you're going to get those feet in there, and you're going to kind of stretch the legs out, kind of like scissors that you would stretch the legs out, and then just adhere them down. Now this is going to be covered up, so you don't have to worry about it being seen on the card when you open it up. So one part of it is going to kind of have that piece that's off to the side with the tapered corners, and the other piece is going to have part of the white that I had cut out of the little square that's part of the kit to hide that part of it. Now I didn't put anything on there. You could certainly use decorative papers if you wanted to, but I just used the white. And then I had already stamped the sentiment, Jolly Wishes for a Holiday, for a happy holiday, and that's going to go on kind of the long place that's left on that long piece. But before that, I want to make sure that I get my stuff in there, but I actually would suggest putting it on there before. That's what I was thinking when I did this card, but after I kind of finished it, you do want to make sure. So you're going to put some, I used double-sided adhesive score tape to be able to adhere down this part to the card and then to the frame. So you're going to fold it, and you're going to butt it up right against the score line for the card, and you are just going to fold it right over it so that that piece is going to stick on the opposite side of the card. So it's going to kind of move. Now again, I would probably do this in reverse now. You're going to have to adhere that other side down, and it's much easier to do when it's in that position than once you put all the pieces on there. So this was kind of a learning curve for me, and I hope that I give you some hints on things not to do as I did. I'm going to put this piece together. So this is the rectangle, and I'm just going to put the red scalloped frame right on the inside of that. Then here I am going to get that tape on there and put in the sentiment. But like I said, not that this was difficult, but it would definitely be easier if you do it before you even put the mechanism in the card at all or anything. So then once you have all of that side down, you're going to want to make sure that everything is kind of working. So I'm just holding it down. I have not adhered that back piece yet. But now you kind of fold that over, make sure that it's straight, and this is where good score lines are important, that you want to make sure you have those good score lines. And then you can pop off that piece, and there you have the mechanism that's going to make this kind of jump up and down or rock in rectangle. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that this was working at this moment, so I was kind of, like I said, fiddling around and making sure this was correct and how it was put together. And once I got all of that together, then I'm going to take off the pieces, and again, because the card is open, it's kind of off, and you kind of just have to, like I said, fiddle with it to be able to get it on. Now I don't know if putting the picture on first is going to be the way to go with that. I think sometimes you just got to have a little fiddly things when you're making types of things like this. But I did want to make sure that it was lined up well, that it didn't stick out of the card, and that it also didn't, or was kind of centered for the frame on the outside. And then I just pieced that over. And then there's the Santa Claus that's going to be in the center there, and he's kind of my focus image on this card, who's just going to be right in the middle and will pop out once the card is opened. But like I said, once you have all the mechanisms adhered down, you have to kind of work with things because you can't just completely flat open the card, otherwise you'll break the mechanism on the inside. So like I said, I don't know that you can really do this without it being a little bit fiddly in this part, just because you want to make sure it's going to line up. So if you put it all together before you adhere to everything, it might not line up in the areas that you want it lined up in. But there are a few things that you can do so it isn't so fiddly. Here, like I said, I did the Merry Christmas with the Merry Christmas die from the 2019 October Flavor of the Month kit, and I'm just going to adhere that down once I onto a strip of the green paper. The strip is 4 inches by about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to put that directly kind of in the center of that and then adhere that down to the front of the card. And that's pretty much going to be it for the card. Like I said, it was a pretty simple card, especially with the dies. I think the image is super cute. I love the Santa standing on the presents, kind of saying, hey, here we are, Merry Christmas. And I like to make sure that I get a lot of use out of all of the products that I get from my different Flavor of the Month kits. So I like to incorporate a lot of different things while I'm doing this. So make sure you stick around and check out a couple more videos. Head over to Scrapping for Less so that you can check out what they have there along with some of these items. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and thanks for stopping by. Take care.